Hey, what's up everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you another video. All right, so I was working on a playlist, and I know I gotta be at this the therapist building for a social worker visit at 3 o'clock, but for some reason I messed up the time. I usually leave. I knew that I had already showered, but I screwed up the time in the sense that usually when I set my alarm, it's for 2 hours earlier than I have to be there. But what I mischaracterized in my mess up, because it's at a different hour than what I usually leave, is the hour that I have set myself up for, the extra hour is not to shower. It's to leave, walk for an hour, and then allow myself an hour if the train messes up. I messed that up in my head. I thought I had an hour to do both, and then I realized it takes an hour to walk down the street if I'm not walking properly. By the time I figured that out, I had already waited past maybe the 15-minute mark from what I would normally leave. This is why, as systematic as I am, I can function. I know I have a certain amount of time. I know exactly when I leave. I do things the same time every day, I'm fine. But when I have to do something at a different time, sometimes mistakes like this can tend to get made in my process. So I still think I'll get there on time based on when I finally realized I had made the mistake and got up. But it was just the idea to understand that, yo, you leave yourself 2 hours from the time you leave, not 1 hour from the time you leave. And by the time I figured that out, I had already passed that threshold of time. So yeah, man, this is why I tell these people, look, I like to show up at 1 when I'm coming to your building. Maybe 2. Don't schedule me for 3, because it throws off my entire day. It throws off my day in such a way to, I usually leave the house around, whether I'm going there or anywhere else, around the same time. I shower, I get up, I work out, I do all the different things that I do at the same exact time. But if I have to allow for extra 2 hours of laying around the house, I don't really function well when I have to adjust going somewhere after extending the periods of time that I'm usually in the house. So it's like, this has thrown me off, man. And it's not to see Lydia, it's to see someone else. So, you know, it's like I gotta meet their schedules, and it's just not, it hasn't worked out today. I was working on a playlist, and I figured I had enough time to complete it, but I didn't. So I gotta pick it up when I leave the house, when I get back home, rather. So wasn't too thrilled about that. I'm actually in that zone right now. I was working on like a little African playlist, African music or whatever. It was sounding pretty good. I only got like 7 songs on it in order, and I still got a lot to sort through. But you know, I told myself, I'm like, am I gonna miss this appointment? I could totally miss this appointment, because I don't think they have anything for me anyway. The social worker is supposed to be looking for a place for me to stay, but I don't think there's anything, and I don't really need nothing else. But for the sake of just trying to keep a good name, I want to go. And the last time I went down there, they screwed up the time, as I told you guys about that last week. I went down there, they told me it was at 2. They rescheduled it for 1. They said they called me, but I didn't get the call. And so I came down there on time for what it is they were told me, and she wasn't able to see me, so they rescheduled it for today. My thing is, I don't really care to see a social worker. I don't believe there's anything I need from them, to be honest with you. I don't need nothing from them. But, you know, it's just, I prayed about it. I was like, Lord, am I missing this thing? Because I really am in an artistic zone right now. I don't care to go anywhere. I don't need nothing from these people. But the Lord was just like, you know, the energy that came my way is, I got your back. Just go. Just go, and maybe we can do some things out here that the Lord wants. So, fine, I'm going to try to get out there. But I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't need nothing from them people, man. I got a therapy session with Lydia on Wednesday. Today's Monday, so I'm gonna be doing this again 2 days from now. But at least it'll be at 1 o'clock. You know what I mean? It won't throw my day off. So yeah, that's really what it is, man. I'm not that great at adjusting my day to fit stuff like this. I'm really not. It's not a strength of mine. It would have been when I had a car, when I had a grand, you know, job situation going on where I had to constantly keep on that hustle and bustle. But these days, over the last 2 years, I ain't really had to be forced to do anything outside of what I like to do. And that's by design. I like it that way. That's what I prefer. So, yeah, man, just making it happen. But it's been a good morning, good prayer. I prayed last night a lot before I went to sleep. Had a very interesting dream, man. I don't quite know what it was trying to tell me, but essentially what was going on was, at first I was hanging out with my mom at a combination of many places. When I say a combination of many places, it looked like they'd taken a piece of this room, a piece of that room, a piece of that room, put them together and made it an entirely different room in my dream. I don't know where I was at, but it looked like a combination of different places I had been. And I was telling my mom that I wanted to eat a certain thing for breakfast. I don't know what it was, some type of Jello cereal mashup thing. I guess it was sold like that. I don't know. And then I wanted some toast to go with it. So that whole ordeal was one of those situations where my mom said, well, we got something like that, but I don't know if they have the one you're looking for in it. It's an assorted Jello package. I don't know if they had the one you want in there. There's a bunch of stuff in there. Maybe it'll have it, maybe it won't. Half of them are gone though. So I went in there and checked on it, and it did have the one I wanted. So I was happy in the dream and all that was cool. I ate. And then it was one of those situations where my mom was, I guess, going to take me to where I used to go, the Children's Club, which is now the Home Depot over there by the Target that I often go to on Sunset. That little area, you guys have seen me go over there many times. And we're going to go over there, but she stopped at her old job, which used to be the Fox 11 / the Wave lot, which is also on Sunset, few doors down from where, in that whole vicinity that I often walk on Sunset. She stopped in the Fox lot and parked her car outside of the entrance to the place where she used to work. And I'm like, all right, we're just gonna have a little pit stop here. Nothing big deal. She probably just had to run in there and get something. And she parked, and I don't remember her getting out the car or nothing like that. Somehow the dream skipped to some dude approaching me. All of a sudden I'm outside of the car, skipped from me being in the car with mom to being outside of the car standing, and this dude approaches me. And as I see what he's coming at me with, he has a knife, a rather big one too. Like one of them steak knives. And he's coming at me like he's gonna attack me. You know, like he's coming at me. And his intention is to rob me with this knife or just take my life entirely. And my mom's in the car. She ain't getting out the car freaking out or nothing. She's almost like she's just kind of chilling as this situation's approaching, which is not how that would have went. But nevertheless, it was one of those things where it's like, now look, I know I got a knife on me. That's what it was. It was one of them situations where he's coming at me with a knife thinking he's gonna get me with it, but what he don't know is I got a knife the same size on me right now, like in that dream. And so as he comes at me with this knife, I said, bro, don't come at me. I got the same thing you got. Don't even do it. And he came out and he still was like, yeah, I'm coming. The knife, I'm coming at you. I pull out my knife and we get into a little knife fight. I win the fight. I win the fight. He ends up in critical condition. He doesn't die, but I stabbed the crap out of this dude. I must have got him at least 6, 7 times in the dream. At least 7 times. He didn't get me once. He didn't get me once. I guess I was aggressive or strong. I don't know what it was in the dream, man. It didn't make any sense. But point is, I won the fight. And it was one of those situations where after that, I felt like I was wrong. Like for some reason, I was like, man, I did a little more than I needed to. Like after I subdued him, I was still stabbing with the intention of making sure he wasn't alive anymore. And while somehow the information came to me that he didn't die, I was relieved that he didn't die. I'm like, man, I don't think he was well, you know what I mean? It wasn't like I was angry at him. It was just self-defense. But you know, when you cross that threshold of self-defense and when you become, you know, doing too much, you overkill. Like I felt like I had overkilled at that point, but you know, the adrenaline was rushing and that's what it was. And it was a weird situation, man. It was like later on in the dream that had nothing to do with nothing. I ended up being brothers with an actor that used to be in a lot of movies back in the day. His name is Michael Beach. You may have heard of him, maybe not. But like, I was his brother, and we had another twin brother, and it didn't make any sense from that point of view. But I guess that tied into the dream somehow. I don't understand it. But as I woke up out of my dream, it was like I kept hearing this name, like Michael Beach, Michael Beach. So prayers out to Michael Beach. Hope everything's well with the actor. I remember him from like early 2000 movies and stuff like that. I don't know. But point is, that was what it was. It was like a dream where this person came up to attack me in the dream, whoever it was. And I ended up getting the best of him because I had a knife on me too. So it was like, whatever he trying to do, he wasn't as good with the knife as I was in the dream. For whatever, like, I was trained. He was just a crazy person coming at me. So I really messed him up bad. And just felt bad for some reason. It was like, damn, I wish it didn't go down that way. I don't know. But I'm not sure what that dream was trying to tell me, man. But I woke up out of it feeling kind of pensive, I guess. It's like it was a serious wake up. Like, didn't wake up smiling, didn't wake up feeling good, didn't wake up scared. Just woke up like wondering if anything was actually coming at me in that way. So I don't know, man. That was the dream. A lot of my dreams don't make any sense. But the last couple of days, I've been having good, comfortable, you know, relaxing dreams, stuff like that. And this dream kind of broke that. There's been 3-4 nights in a row where I woke up abnormally at peace from my dreams. That's why this one stood out so much, because I really had a lot of good nights in a row in this room. So I don't know, man. That was weird. Very strange. I am not trained with a knife. I don't imagine I'd want to engage in any type of knife fight or nothing like that. Like I'm in some type of old Michael Jackson music video or something. It wasn't, you know what I mean? It was not something I was pleased with. And that's just what it was, man. I was wondering how he didn't manage to cut me, because it's a knife, you know. You gotta get up close to somebody to actually use it. So while I'm stabbing at him, in real life, he's likely stabbing me too. You know what I mean? That's not how you expect the stabby situation to go. But I was able to like effectively get him off me without getting cut. So whatever that is. But yeah, man, that was a dream. And then what else, man? I felt pretty good. Other than that, I did my normal routine. Woke up, of course, made the video about a trade that was made in the NBA. It's on here currently for those who care about that. And you know, I knew I had this to do today. I didn't forget about it. I just, as I said, misjudged the time I allow to make sure that I'm there on time. And so that's really what it is. But it's pretty warm. It's got to be about 80, 85 degrees. It's probably going to get up to about 90 today. It's only going to increase from here. It's just like it's going in waves. We had like a 96 degree day, and then it came back down to 79, and it went back up. It's likely going to go up to about 96 before doing that wave again. And I'd imagine we're going to probably start running into some 100 days as we get closer into August. So, you know, for me, I also, to a point, felt like getting out today. That's why I really hate that they scheduled it for so late, because I really did not want to start the process of doing a playlist. And I know me, if I rush through the playlist without listening to every single song, I can get a playlist done in an hour. So that's what I probably thought I was going to do. Or maybe just leave it so that I only had like 3 or 4 songs left by the time I was done with the process. You know what I mean? Before it's time to leave. But as I started listening to the music, I just didn't turn off any of the songs. So I didn't get through as much of it as I would have liked to. But it's one of those situations where it's like, and I listen to some of my old playlists, so I used to do that, skim through the music. I would hate how the playlists come out a lot of the times, because a lot of the songs weren't vetted through. I would listen to portions of them, then the beat would change, or it'd be a bad verse or something, man. It mess up the playlist entirely. So now I like to listen to all the songs, all the way through, when I'm making it. course, is the better way to do it, but it is very time consuming. You'll sit there for 3 or 4 hours with your headphones on, trying to arrange and vet through each and every song, making sure that each and every note is what you want it to be. Makes for much better playlists, but it requires you to spend time doing it. And so I don't mind doing it. It comes naturally to me at this point. It's one of my favorite things to do in the world, but on days like this, I know better than to start a process. I know better. And so it was one of those things where it's like I had a free hour in my head at the time, and I'm like, should I start? Should I not? Should I take a nap? And I'm like, I'm not sleepy at all. I'm fully showered. I'm ready to go. I feel like leaving the house. This whole thing of them scheduling me at 3 o'clock is completely throwing my day off, as I said. And I really am going to start telling them, like, look, if you can't schedule me for 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, or 2 o'clock, I'm not available. That's what I got to start telling them, because it throws my day completely off too much, man. 3 o'clock is too late. It's too late for how I like to operate, for how my day is scheduled, for how my night is scheduled. It's too late for how I operate. And that's just something that I knew already, but I'm like, you know, I'm trying to do my part in making sure that I show up for what it is that Lydia tried to schedule me for in regards to this meeting with this person. You know, just trying to do my part, whatever they, you know, whatever is best from within their system. I want to be of service to whatever options are available, but the truth of the matter is I don't need it. I don't believe they have anything. I'm pretty certain I'm gonna go down here and she's gonna tell me they don't have nothing. I'm like, I know that. So I didn't schedule it. Lydia did. You know what I mean? Like, but maybe they'll have something for me. Maybe there'll be some transportation stuff. Maybe something will have opened up that I'm not aware of or something. You know what I mean? You gotta leave room for the impossible to be possible. Maybe this is one time where they have something that they wouldn't have had otherwise. Who knows, right? Let God handle it. And so that's really what it's about for me, letting God handle it, putting the glory and the faith into Him, and not really trying to control everything so much. But you know, so that's what I call myself doing right now. But I'd be lying to you if I said I felt comfortable or was happy. No, I'm not. I really was doing something I love to do, something I'm very, very passionate about, and I broke it to do this, and I do hope that something good comes of it. And I really do hope that they didn't do what they did last time, because I certainly didn't see a call telling me. And I'll tell them, I'm gonna let them know, like, look, if I go all the way down here and they've canceled or changed the schedule on me again, do not reschedule. I'm good. We ain't about to be doing this again. You know what I mean? May the time be the time. You know, that's how I feel about it. If you schedule me for 3, I know it's fluid. There are a lot of people, they're trying to schedule different ways. People cancel this. Times open up. Things happen in life. I get it. But if you tell me to be somewhere at 3 o'clock, my intention is to be there at 3 o'clock. If I get there at 3 o'clock and you tell me, oh, we changed up the time, that's a real inconvenience for me. And it's only so many times I'm going to go for that. That's how I feel about that. It's just my operation. It's how I operate. And so if I go down here, go all the way down here again, and this man tell me, oh, we changed the time on you, or she's not available, then cool. Let's reschedule. No. Straight. I'm good. 2 times we go through that. It won't be a 3rd. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm drawing a line there. There's no way I'm going through that for a 3rd time. But yeah, man, so that's pretty much it. This is me outside of my element. I definitely am not in the mood for any of what I'm doing right now. But just the same, you know, I'm putting forth the effort, and that's what I've been praying the Lord would help me do. Because there are many times in my past where a day like this, where I was feeling, I just call them up and tell them I ain't coming, or just don't show up. I would completely flake. So I've grown a lot in this regard, and I'm very happy about that. But just the same, I'm poised for them telling me they don't have anything, and that's exactly why I would flake, having that in my head. So, you know, we just go forward. But yeah, there's some things I was thinking about, paying attention to. The DOJ came out and told all of us that there is no Epstein a list. Yeah, I know. That's very Israel of them. They've investigated themselves and found that they've done no wrongdoing. We know. We get it. Who's one of the main people on the damn Epstein files, allegedly, we think? President of the United States. You think the President of the United States is about to out his sexual deviancy and all of his cronies? No. He investigated himself, and he is determined that he is not on the files, that he did no wrongdoing, and that everything should proceed as normal. And we are supposed to go along with that. Why? Because we're supposed to trust him. I don't know, man. I just laugh at stuff like that. I'm like, that's very Israel then. Israel's always investigating themselves when it comes to different things that they do on purpose, deliberately, while we know they do it on purpose, deliberately. The Americas, and those who are beholden to them in their bullcrap often look to them to investigate themselves and then come back to us and tell us that Israel investigated themselves. They didn't find anything that they had done that would be wrong at all. I'm just like, how angry am I supposed to get? You know what I mean? At some point in time, you got to stop getting angry at the rainfall. You know what I mean? You can piss yourself off at what's inevitable, but at the end of the day, it's inevitable. It just is what it is. What you can control is your own feelings about things and how you handle things. But as far as being angry at the inevitable, it doesn't really hold much. It doesn't make no sense, basically. And so that's where I'm at when it comes to that. I tend to expect the worst from people who prove the worst constantly. It ain't really much else to it. So yeah, man, the death toll in regards to that Texas situation is raised up to what, 30 people. They keep announcing a new child, a new couple of people have passed. Every couple of hours they're telling us a new person died in that situation. And what I'm hearing is a bunch of blame, as we talked about in one of my previous therapy sessions. And they're just gonna blame one another and side on one. It's just the policies of the Democrats, say the Republicans, of course. And it's not that they are really at odds with one another. They just want to stay in the position to look as if they're at odds with one another. So we will choose a side and stay at odds with one another. That's what that is about. They're both in cahoots with one another. They both are aligned with Israel and all of Israel's intentions. And that's really what it's about, if I'm being honest. It ain't deeper than that. And as long as they appear divided, they can divide all of us and conquer. You know what I mean? But if you follow the money and you follow what's out there, it'll tell you that they're very much in cahoots with one another. They both align with one another on a lot of things. It's just like the culture of lawyering, so to speak. The defense and the prosecution, they both drink with one another on Friday nights. Like, you know, they get in their arena and they battle it out. But it's your life in the balance. It's your justice in the balance. They gonna do this song and dance with different subjects, you know, every couple months. Like, this is the game they play. And so I don't see the government political structure any different. There's no difference. We're what makes their separation relevant. It's just like debate shows. You know, these two dudes are getting up there debating, but they actually do lunch with one another. They don't actually disagree with one another in a lot of cases. Just agree to disagree with one another for the sake of debate. Sometimes they're taking positions they don't even agree with, positions they don't even align with. Sometimes they help one another with each other's positions because that's how you write the show. But like, you know, it's silly, bro. And the whole thing is silly. It needs to be reimagined. The whole thing is corrupted. It needs to be considered differently. And honestly, I'm tired of it. Honestly, I think you should be as well, as Americans. People toying with us, using divide and conquer methods when they're really friends with one another, pretending to be on one side or another just for the sake of us being in allegiance to one side or another. It's remedial, really, when you consider it. It's kind of retarded, if I'm able to use the R word. And I just want my country to understand what I see there, and hopefully we can evolve into and move on from a lot of these ways of propaganda and just the way we handle certain things. It just seems kind of primitive is the word I think I'll use. Primitive is the word. So yeah, man, corruption. I always find myself praying the Lord just give me the right words to give you guys in regards to what I see, and try to use my brain to be a solution to what it is he intends in regards to these situations, and align with the comfort of his truth as it pertains to what it is I see that seems to otherwise have no hope. You know, a lot of stuff just seems hopeless, and it's only hopeless because that's just where it looks. That's the way it looks in the time we're in. But as things transpire, the Lord ultimately changes the outlook of all of us and changes the landscape of what it is that's being controlled above our heads. And as he does, we find ourselves in a position to be aligned with what his intention is, and then a lot of stuff that seems so impossible in regards to seeing justice and an end to corruption starts to look as if it was always going to line up this way. Just like the end of slavery, it was never meant for us to be in bondage forever, but for a span of 400 years, I'm pretty damn certain it felt like forever. And so, you know, that's what it is for a lot of things that we're seeing today. Some of the stuff is not going to last forever, but for the time being, it's going to feel like it will, and that's just what we have to try to guard against in regards to losing our focus and our energy or what have you. So yeah, man, that's it. That's my thought. I really pray for people who are dealing with being victims of this type of stuff. And I think about the victims of Epstein and all the girls on the island. I heard from a couple of the ones who said they were there, and, you know, they're not getting any justice because politically it doesn't benefit the powers that be that justice be seen. And so yeah, I know what the enemy is trying to coerce us into doing, man. That's what I'm telling all of y'all. Common person, what the enemy's trying to coerce us into doing is the same thing we talked about in a very previous, maybe 7 or 8 videos ago. He's trying to get you into a space where you're crashing out on all of these characters, putting yourself within the position to be wrong so that bad karma can come your way for reacting to the nonsense that he's doing. That is what the enemy's really intentional on doing. Putting you in a position to be bad so that what naturally comes to those who be bad, which is bad reactions, bad karma, bad consequences, will then fall on your head, and you will be a victim of him in that way. That's what makes him most happy. And so as long as we understand that, we know how we got to play this game. You know, we know what we have to do. We know what we cannot do. We know the margins from which we need to stay within. Because at the end of the day, that's ultimately what all this is about. It's about making you completely lose your mind and lose your morals in reaction to all of this nonsense that you're seeing. That's what it's about. Try to turn you into some type of stone cold bad person, whatever that looks like. Or turn you into somebody who's so jaded that you just align with the corruption yourself, because what's the use of not, right? If you can't beat them, join them type energy. Which also leaves you losing in the end. So that's why the focus is as the Lord once told me, keep your eyes on him. He told me, keep your eyes on me. You don't really focus too much on the details of what it is that's going on around you, because a lot of it is meant to coerce you into spaces where you're not your best, or where you doing what it is I don't want you to do, or reacting to things in a way that damns your soul or what have you. That's what this is all about. That's a spiritual hope. That's the hope of the energy against you, is to just turn you into something that you're not, and have you doing stuff that you ain't got no business doing from here on out. You know, that's really what it is. And that's what, and the more ridiculous it can be, the more outrageous it can be, the more anger provoking, outrage provoking it can be, the more likely random Joe starts acting outside of what it is he was raised to be, outside of character for his moral standards, the more he starts feeling there ain't no use to do nothing but just become evil, because evil is what runs everything. It's trying to make those who are on the fence just choose away from God. It can't be no God, because look at what we're seeing here. Like, that's what it wants you to do. It's a conversion mechanism. That's what evil is. It's meant to convert everybody who's surveying it into it, no matter what. It's always about turning you into what it is that it is. And so if you see enough that makes your heart break or whatever, eventually you're just going to pick up a gun and do something stupid, or pick up a knife, do something stupid or whatever, you know what I mean? Start funneling your money into wickedness and stuff, and trying to, in reaction to what it is you see. And if you just can't win that way. Can't win that way. You end up selling your soul that way, in reaction to corruption. And that's what is spiritually behind all of these demonstrations. And I want y'all to think about that when you see a politician get on stage and be unapologetically callous toward human beings. As you're seeing a lot of that today, or you see individuals blaming one another for stuff that you know damn well they collaborate on, you know, or you see factions of the government gaslighting the people. They're trying to anger you into chaos of the mind. And that's literally all it's about. And the subjects don't know that. They don't know why they're doing what they're doing. They think they're doing it for money. They think they're doing it for power. They think they're doing it because it's what those who are in control of their fate are telling them to do. How to be aligned with what's right, be on the side of history of the winners, you know. That's what they think they're doing. That's not what they're doing. They're just not smart enough, spiritually intelligent enough, and connected with anything real enough to actually understand the underlying intentions behind their behavior. A lot of them are driven by their ego, and that ego doesn't understand the first thing about good or evil at all. It's just going. Just going. And they're going with what they were taught. And they were taught by people who were controlled by wickedness on how to be wicked. You know what I mean? And that's what you're seeing there. They don't know the first thing of why they're doing what they're doing. They're just doing it. I'm telling you why they're doing it. Because they're trying to provoke within you something that's going to make you crash out. Make you say, what's the use? That's why. That's the why behind all of it. You know, make you say, I'm jaded now. I don't believe in no good. Oh, I'm angry, so I'm not focused. I'm distracted by my own anger. That type of thing. Trash. I'm telling you. When you really know what it's trying to do, then you know exactly what you're looking at, why it's acting the way it's acting, and what's driven behind that behavior. So, yeah, man, I understand that, so I just continue to keep my eyes on God and try my very best. And I still war with that. You know, I was raised in this world just like the rest of us. I find myself still struggling with some of that. But at the end of the day, if you know what your true north is, you can struggle some. But at the end of the day, you're going to stay on the path. And I encourage people to, you know, as I told my buddy at the place I live, you know, you want to find outlets. Sometimes we have some of the worst of thoughts. You know, a whole lot of us don't really know how to be positive of the mind all the time. You know what I mean? Sometimes you see stuff, you get into a negative space. That's understandable. Find outlets to write what it is that you have to say, or type whatever it is you have to say, or make art or something. Find outlets, and don't feel like it's no use. Don't feel like what you're saying is too dark or whatever, because at the end of the day, what is in needs to come out in a constructive way. Now, you may write some things down that you don't agree with right after you write it. It's very much okay to discard of that paper after you use it to write down your feelings. But get those feelings out of your system. Get those feelings out of your mind. Get those feelings out somehow. You know, and speaking with her, and I may have mentioned this already, one of the things she said is she's concerned that what she had to say was too negative, or she's afraid to write because it's not constructive what she ends up writing. The poetry that she writes is just negative thoughts or whatever. she doesn't want to share. It's like, you don't have to share it. It just got to come out. You don't have to keep it. It just got to come out. You can write it on toilet paper and discard of it thereafter. You don't have to keep what you have written. It's just important that you get it all out your system so that it doesn't come out in random ways, so it doesn't blow up in random ways, and so that you can be aware of what's going on inside of you. Now, self-awareness is something that a lot of us believe we have, but we don't actually have, you know. And in this social media era, I think we're much better with that than maybe our predecessors, people who came before us, because we have these type of things, a phone in our hand that can show us who we are every single day. If we use these tools, we have a much greater understanding of how we come off than those who came before us. But there's still a lot of people who don't use these tools, or are so structured in how they use these tools based on the measures of success that they want to reach, that they don't often use them as the outlets that they are very much capable of being. And that's what I want to normalize. That's one of the reasons why I do the things I do on here. Although I'm structured too. I don't say everything that come to mind. I'll go crazy, but I think the point is that to understand that the outlet is a necessary tool to control one's mind, to be aware of what's going on in one's thoughts, to document how you grow as a human being and where you're going from here. And I think it's so important for those of us who have dark thoughts, who are struggling with what we're seeing, who don't feel like we're being listened to, who are, you know, people who are wearing masks in their lives, who don't feel like they can show who they really are. You got to get out some of those frustrations that are attached to your real self. You got to know what's going on in your head. You got to know how your thoughts structure. And it helps you be a better communicator too, once you look at yourself and you can vet through what it is you're feeling by way of what it is that you've released. And so that's what I want to encourage everybody to do. Write some things down. You know, I spent many times in my life, in different eras of my life, writing poetry. There was one era in my life where I wrote a poem every night for like a whole summer. You know, it was a time in my life where I wrote in journals. It was really, you know, one of the times I was really deeply isolated in my early 20s. I wrote every day and every night. Anytime I could think to do anything, I would write and practice. And a lot of that stuff I still have. It's in storage right now, but I haven't cracked open any of those books at all. It's probably since I wrote it. And a lot of those thoughts I don't think were structured at all, because most of the time I was high, smoking weed heavily, and then just writing whatever came to mind. Some of it probably don't make no sense. Some of it was jaded young people thoughts, you know, stupid stuff of darkness, you know, but it got out. That's the point. And it's there for me to go back and look at now, see how I've grown. And so that's what I want to encourage everybody to do, man. It's helpful. Write in a journal, especially if you got the kind of life that doesn't allow for you to really express yourself. Your politics are so damn structured, so tight that you don't even think you have a time, space to breathe. You know, find yourself an opportunity to be alone somehow and give yourself 15 minutes to write all of what comes to mind, whether you like it or not, whether it makes sense or not. Even if it ain't words, you can scribble, whatever you're gonna do. But get the energy in, out. And turn that into a practice that you utilize often. And see, don't your mental health improve, especially throughout the course of looking at some of the stuff that we're seeing in this world today, man. We need outlets for the betterment of our mental health and betterment of our self-awareness. And if we can get our stuff, if we can funnel all this energy out, communicate all of this somehow, we can have more of a harness and control over it, awareness of it, and we can start making ourselves better people from the inside out, regardless if we're being encouraged by the people around us or not. Maybe you have a lot of positive things to say. Maybe you find out you have different thoughts you haven't overcome yet. Things you thought you had overcome, maybe they still come out, you know. But the point is, you want to be aware of that. And a lot of people don't even know that there's context to learn from within themselves. You know, a lot of people don't even see it, don't even believe in that. What the hell are you talking about? I am me. I'm me all day. I know who I am. Until you peer into self and then realize there's some things that you are not in touch with that often you display every day. Or frustrations, new frustrations even, new traumas that need to be addressed. That this is the way you're going to be able to do that. And so don't be afraid to open that rabbit hole of one's own mind and get out them frustrations, no matter how they would be taken by others. They don't need to be expressed to others. Or maybe you write something so dope that you find you do want to express it to others. But the point is to get it out. And so that's what I wanted to say, man. I think I'll leave this video there, man. It's a lot of evil out here, but there's a lot of good that can be done from within us as we're displaying it. Don't judge yourself too much for your darkness. Just make sure that you harness it and have a relationship with God so that he can help you do that. And that relationship starts with just the faith of a mustard seed. It ain't got to be a whole lot, but just the idea of a wonder if there's a God, and then from there being crazy enough to reach out, and the rest he can do something with from there. Video 44. I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.